race conditions. And so I sort of did a play on words there, like the issue of race and race conditions and how both of those are related by us just failing to make the proper assumptions and, just thinking like everyone who uses the app is going to look exactly like me or like Shaw. I mean, I'm mixed race, so no one really looks like me, but yeah.
Okay, so we are actually just now live. So welcome to
Oh,
Keyframers.
hey.
Yeah, sorry about that. The stream was showing as live, but it wasn't actually coming through yet. So we're now live. I'm Stephen Shaw. That's David Khourshid. We're Keyframe friends and the Boolean buddies and all the things. So today we're doing an episode based on a data visualization from Explained, a great Netflix series that breaks down a variety of topics. The last episode is of season 1 is called The Racial Wealth Gap, and it goes into a lot of amazing details about how kind of our country got in this situation for Black people in America, showing the difference in wealth between whites and blacks and how we've gotten in that place. So we're interested in animation, of course, and we're interested in development, but we're also interested in the human condition and how we can help with that. So you should really check out David's latest issue of stately.dev. His State Machine newsletter that goes into a lot of great content about why this is all pertinent to development and just why we need to care about our fellow human beings. So we're here stating Black lives do matter, and it's important to say that, and it's an important time to be active in all of that. So don't feel that you have to stick to tech. Like, it's important to speak out on this. So
It definitely is. This is a really good episode, like Shaw mentioned, and in general I love Vox's animation style. If you've seen any of Vox's not interactive but just really in-depth videos where they explain things or they talk about things, they have a YouTube channel, and a lot of them are about social issues. So it is I think it's a really good channel for just educating yourself on things that are going on around the world. But their animation style has actually influenced a lot of what I do for animation with presentations and talks that I give. I don't know if you've seen like the clipping letters effects, the choreography, the sort of Ken Burns zooming effects that they incorporates too. There's a lot of really interesting animation details in here.
Yeah, they do such a great job, and this animation is just one of the small little details within the full thing. So you should really check it out and enjoy that content. And right now we'll just kind of get into recreating part of this.
Let's do it.
So one of the pieces of it here is this medium family by wealth chart. I put together a little SVG here. I don't know why it's not showing up. Did you do something?
Because
okay.
I
display
nunned it.
Okay.
There we go.
Right. So this is just an SVG. I kind of traced over the frame of footage, and it's got actual text in it. So accessibility wise, it could be enhanced to be really readable for screen readers and all that. But I mean, it should be at least parsable in screen readers as is. So there's basically two paths here. We've got a white line and a red line. Here's the white one. And the most basic part of this animation is the kind of line draw technique of that chart.
And yeah, so we've done that in a lot of or not a lot, a handful of episodes. This whole line drawing technique, so that shouldn't be too bad to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can start off with that.
Sure.
I'll add a class here. So we've got the black line and the white line. And then we'll say
it's a red line.
Yeah, well,
because of redlining. No. Okay. It's like a double pun. Sorry.
What's the? Oh, it's path length, right? Path length equals 1.
Yeah. Path length equals 1, and then dash array 1 1 dash offset -1. I basically memorized it at this point because it's just such a useful technique. So on each, I guess you give them a class of dot line, or you might as well apply to all the paths. Or actually, wasn't it you who said that like if we do path length 1, it has to be directly on the HTML?
It's not supported in CSS yet. I've gotten a little bit of movement, I think, going to make it accessible in the CSS as well, but that's not available at all yet. So yeah, path length equals 1. We're basically just telling the browser however long this path actually is, like all this path data. We aren't worried about that. We just want the path length to equal 1 for all of our calculations here. So we'll do that. Let's see, line. Is it actually doing anything yet?
Well, all right, so I think we don't have those. Wait, so what's dot line?
So it looks so dot line is the group, and then we're targeting the path within it. Let's just say stroke yellow. Okay. It is doing that. I think it's path length like that. It's not.
Yeah, you have to camel case it. Yep. So I guess we went the wrong way. It should be 1 to 0 because you probably drew it the other way. Yep. There we go.
Nice.
Okay, so it draws, it does that. That's really cool. We're done.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. So let's see.
So Dean in the chat asks, where do dashes appear? Why dashes? So there's a really good article on CSS tricks. Do you know if there's an updated article on doing it your way? I call it your way, but it's basically the newest way.
I feel like there was one. I talked with Chris about it at some point, and I feel like he was updating an article on it, but I don't have a link handy or anything.
Basically, you could think of it as, let's say that the entire length is 1, which we literally did do. We said, however long this line is, forget about that measurement. We're making that equal to 1. And then we set a dash array. And so what that dash array says is what part of it is filled in, you could say, and what part of it is empty. So if you think of a dashed line, you have filled in, empty, filled in, empty, filled in, empty, et cetera, et cetera. So we're saying that the length of the filled in part is exactly the length of the line. And the length of the empty part is also exactly the length of the line. So now when you set the dash offset to negative, then we're basically making the dashed part, or the empty part, the entire line. And then once we transition that from -1 to 1, or in this case from 1 to 0, we're filling it in. It's sort of an illusion, like many things we do here.
Yeah, this is a relatively standard technique for SVG animation, line drawing technique or drawing SVG. If you Google those, you'll see variants of it. But that path length attribute just makes it so much easier. Otherwise, you've got to use JavaScript to kind of calculate the path length and then apply that, and it just gets messy.
Which is what we had to do before. How did you run into the path length thing? Because it's extremely useful.
I forget where I stumbled across it. I'm terrible at crediting people when I find techniques. But yeah, there's some good people out there that have pioneered the technique. I just made it a little easier to use in this instance. So we've got all the texts here that we can animate according to the animation. So there's
there's a one where the actual values on the y-axis clip, and so you have that clip animation. However, I am not sure how to do that with SVG without a considerable amount. Actually, it's not too bad to do it. You do have to make a clip path though, which sort of sucks. But...
yeah, I feel like we can get away with it. Let me see. So I'm just gonna do it on the 200,000 one here. So let's say we've got our y-axis. We'll do text overflow hidden, tspan transform translate y 20.
Yeah, I would just wrestle with clip path, but you probably know a better way.
Well, is clip path going to work in?
It will when you do the animation, but it requires a lot. I started looking through the MDN and I'm like, I don't know, maybe not. Because you have to define the clip path and you have to use it, and it has to be a precise measurement. I'm
blanking on the clip path syntax for the moment. So one thing I always go back to is Clippy. This is a handy little tool that basically helps you set up clip paths for various shapes. They've got some built in. Just doing a square here, so copy that over, and we'll see if a CSS clip path works here. Let me see. Closing span should be T-span. Thank you very much.
Sounds like a rapper.
T-span.
Yeah.
I've got that app. T-span transform. Yes, so I'm not sure if it's actually working here. T-span. Maybe it's the transform isn't actually working on that. So let's do a G this equals text wrapper, and let's see if that'll work. We'll do the clip path there, and then the text there. Ooh. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, the T-span you can't actually do the CSS on for some reason.
It's weird. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Well, I'm gonna move this here.
But that's what we do, is we worry.
Worry. Well, I'm just getting the way to do it here. Well, at least. So we can do translate there. So let's do animation text in. 1 second. Linear ease out and out. And then keyframes text in from transform translate y. Pixels and opacity is 0 just for fun. Take off.
Okay, so what's going on here?
So I'm doing the side thing there.
Okay.
Text wrapper. Oh, interesting.
Well, that sort of worked.
Yeah. So the 200,000. I was trying to do the clip path on it, and that It works, but it works too well.
Oh yeah, it literally goes into the clip path.
Right.
So maybe
so it's
fading in could be an artistic choice.
Yeah.
We also have a bit of a stagger, and what we could do is I could go ahead and add some CSS spheres.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
So this is a technique we often do. Var I times 0. Where we add a CSS variable to the
it goes bottom up, so
yeah.
I will do.
No, that's what we need, I think. Let's see. Yeah, reverse it.
Yep, got the tool.
Okay. So basically that we'll use the var total minus var I to invert it, and then the bottom one will come in first, followed by the others, and that's awful easing. Because here 0.5, 0.31. Yeah, and then we can tone down the amount here. Wonder if we can do 1em. Yeah, it does do that. So there we go. All right, that'll work. All right, so yeah, that's our common staggering technique. You add the CSS variables in the HTML. And we're using a total here so that we can invert it. Animation delay, we calculate it based on those variables.
Yeah. One more thing we could do is let's get the total. So we're drawing for 3 seconds. That should be a CSS variable. Go ahead and add that. So line duration, we'll call that 3 seconds. And so after that duration, then we have the total numbers come in, 171,000 versus 17,000.
Yeah, so we can apply this animation to all the text, and we can say y-axis. Whoa.
That was fun.
Y-axis text.
They are. Oh wow, what's happening?
So
why are we getting those zoomies?
So the text. They all have a little bit of a transform applied to them. I tried to clean this up beforehand, but it did not work. So whenever you're doing SVG from like another program or from like a drawing program, the code that comes out is always pretty sloppy. I ran this through SVG OMG, which is a fantastic little tool by Jake Archibald. And it cleans up a lot, but the like baked in transforms, it does not. So we have to kind of go in and do some group wrappers, this little G tag. There we go. There we go. CSS variables, CSS custom properties. Yeah, that's the same thing, Dean in the chat. Let's see. That works. Then apply it here. And I'll actually move this up to the top for better ordering here. All right, and then let's see. Yeah, those labels need to get the same thing happening to them with the transforms, and then we can add delays to those based on that line duration. Is that what you're working on?
I am not. Nope.
Oh. Okay, so
just setting the groundwork for the second part.
oh, okay,
Nothing crazy yet.
All right, so dot line text, we'll do animation delay var line duration. Yeah, we'll do minus 0.2 seconds. Wrap that in a oops. Wrap that in a calc. Text. I'm gonna add the replay code in the JavaScript. Basically, this will just replay CSS animations by toggling hidden on the body. That's a super cool technique.
Really fun technique. Yeah.
All right, so let's see what the delay is for this. Those all come in. Those are already in, so we don't even want those. Here. Okay, there it is. So we'll do this as G, class equals X axis, our X axis here. And we'll actually set no animation on those. X axis, text, animation, none. Okay.
All right. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's looking really nice. All right. So yeah, there's a lot more we could do with the clipping and things like that to get it to more closely match the animation, but that's the overall gist of it there. With an SVG pretty much straight from the design program, run through SVG OMG and then optimize just a little bit to make things a little cleaner, and then some CSS animation. So bam. Nice. All right, so David has started setting up the other portion of the animation that we wanted to do. We'll see how much we can get done here.
Yeah, so what I was thinking for that one was, and what we could do probably is hide the SVG and look at the timeline. What do you think?
Yeah, we can do that. So I'll just display none down here, so we don't have that in the way.
And so you'll see that the second one is absolutely nothing. Yeah. So what I did was I add some HTML here in the section ID equals timeline. And the idea is that instead of going crazy with this, we're just going to do a CSS grid. And so we're going to show you how awesome CSS grid is for laying these types of things out. Yeah, so you're adding the grid areas. And so, yeah, let's actually get some things in here. So we have, actually, I'll just, for example, we have data year, and I'll just do an after. So content, data, or attributes. Data attributes are super, super useful. You hear us talking about them all the time. And that's because they are extremely versatile. And yeah, so let's see if that shows. Okay, yes. You see that? You see how they're, all right, so I did something silly here. The silly thing I did was I actually took the difference between the years. Like if you go from 1619 to when slavery started to 1865, when you have the period of legal discrimination because slavery was abolished, but slaves were sort of free, but technically not. You subtract those 2 years, and you get something like 246 years, which is a really long time. So I put 246 FR. And because the way that FR works is it's basically like a fractional unit. So if you don't want to do the whole percentage math calculation, you just put your FRs in there and then you let the CSS whatever engine figure out the rest. And so I put 246, 103, 50, and 0. And I'm like, figure out what the ratios of those are. And it worked. And I'm so glad it worked.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This will be the highest FR on record, to my knowledge. Maybe there's a bigger one. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, so I'm just going to do 60 VW from now. And all right, yeah. Well, actually, the entire app, that's what we want to... So we'll make this 70 VW, and then we'll make the timeline with 100%.
There we go. So why is our line only spanning the first little part there?
That's a good question.
Because I've got grid area line. So
yeah, which means it should stretch out. I mean,
well, is it?
Grid area. Okay. So I've ran into this a bunch of times. Gotta get rid of those quotes.
Oh, really?
It's so weird. Yeah. So only when you're defining the grid template areas do you have those quotes, but otherwise, don't do it.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
So it seemed to throw off the by doing the years there.
So,
I mean, we don't technically need it, I guess. Because of the source order?
We don't, but we sort of do. So I'll go ahead and do the grunt work here. 1619. So we want this to be grid area 1619.
Well, so that's what I have down here on line 90.
Oh, okay. So you have all that. Hopefully that works. I don't know how it works with
it doesn't. That's so the.
Well, all right.
Is it can grid areas not start with number? I wonder.
Let's try this. Yeah, I was going to do the same thing. So we could do this. Yeah. Get a little fancy here.
Sorry. All right.
Cool. Okay. Now we should have something that works.
Yep.
Yes,
that gets it.
And so now we just need the data desk for description.
For description. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can work on that.
Yeah, I'll do that. So
position absolute top 100%.
Just copy these.
That should get the. Did you do position relative on everything? You did not. Wow.
No, I
for
didn't.
Once.
Wow, shame on me. Can you please put it there, please?
Yes.
I'm gonna have a panic attack if that's if that's not there. I need my position relative.
Relative. There we go. And then box sizing. Box. There we go. All right. And then.
Sorry, things will break.
Of course they will.
These are planned downtime.
1M. Border radius. 1M. Because we've got a little bit of a rounding happening, don't we? Yeah. Okay.
All right, so now with the data desk, we have to actually display the text. So we could say, and after content attribute data desk. Okay, so does it show? It does show. Perfect.
Wow.
And the reason that I put in the pseudo element is because we could now actually make those boxes the appropriate colors.
Yeah. Very nice. So let's see. Why are my little dot's not showing up. Probably a
your
index
problem.
thing.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. All right, so there we go. We got those. We actually want, let's see.
Yes, green. Cool.
Nice.
Did we position relative? Yes, we did position relative everything, which is why things look so good. Okay, so black, and then we could do, just for now, color red and color white. And we could get rid of this. Yeah, that looks about right.
Mm-hmm.
These with 100%, and then text align center. See that? There we go. And text transform uppercase. Bold. It's like the 5%. Make it shrink a little. There we go. And then in top like 1 pH. There we go.
Yep.
So now animation time.
Yeah, so let me tweak something really quick. Let's lighten
No worries.
this by like 10%, so we get a little bit more contrast there. And then let's see, you did up here. Okay.
What color picker are you using again?
I've been using Color Slurp.
Color Slurp. Have you tried contrast?
I have not.
I feel like I should plug them because they're really, really good.
Those markers lined up. I think we need to actually do that for the text as well.
I think I go the wrong way. Trying to get a nice radial gradient, but with my computer's resolution, I can't tell if it's good enough. Let me see. Or if I'm doing it the right way, because I always forget the order of the whole radial. Oh, wait a minute. Why is my background like repeating and all that weird stuff? Hold on, let me try this. Aha, there we go. Cool, now we have a nice nice radial gradient here. That's too bright. That should do.
All right, what were you working on?
So just a radial gradients, but now
for the background. I gotcha.
yeah.
All right. So now to animate.
Yes.
All right. So let's start just completely from the bottom here. So we'll say timeline animation down here. And we'll say, so the first thing that happens is the timeline line enters. So that goes from let's say root.
How did you get rid of the gap for 2018? Actually, I'm really interested. How did you center them? I have a couple ideas, but yeah.
Yeah. So looking at our data years, so we're populating the before with the actual year, and then I'm just using translate x -50%, and it's a display inline block, so the width is just the size of the text. If I can resolve that, there we go. You can see, yeah, it's just the size of that text. So translate -50%, centers it, and then the little circles on the timeline are position absolute, top 100%, so that they appear down on the next little area, and then I've got them moved over -50% as well, which is just the size of the dot there. And then a little z-index bump on them to make them go.
Perfect. All right, so looking at the animation. So yeah, something I might have to do is, just like I talked about that slipping in technique, the clipped text. So I'm going to make an extra div in the div and put that text in there. So there will be some redundancy, but that's okay. Did I mess something up?
Yes. Because you still have the after in there.
Oh, no, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so instead of that after, I'm just going to make that the wrong after.
Got that for you.
Did you do it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so now, yeah. Wait a minute. Ah, man. Okay, we have to make that a div within a span, or a span within a div. Oh, man. Okay. Shouldn't
really?
be too bad.
What are you?
Span.
Oh yeah, for the text itself. Yeah.
Yep, for the clipping, all that good stuff. So those styles can stay, but then of course we have to add an overflow hidden.
Yeah.
And then we have to do the span. Okay. Well, so with the
yeah, we'll also kind of need to do the same with with the bar. Like the bar itself needs to have a overflow hidden, and needs to be like a pseudo element or something.
Yeah. No, we could just scale that.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I see what you're saying.
It at least needs to be a.
Yeah. So we can make that the before, and then we could yep. That works. We're on the same page. So we get the div, and how do I do this again? Okay, so we have an overflow hidden, and then the span inside, that's going to be display inline block, and then let's just go like transform translate y just to make sure this works 100%, and just to test it out. So if you hover over each of the descriptions, unless you made a mistake.
I did, yeah, just a moment. There we go.
Cool. Oops. Oh yeah, so now we have our clipping. If you like
I'm hovering, nothing's happening.
No, hover. Like right under the it's weird. You have to do it like right in the middle and right under. And so now we could just make that into an animation.
I gotcha. The continuing discrimination is getting cut off for me.
Is it?
Yeah.
It is not. Not on my computer.
Well, we'll tackle that in a minute. And we'll say star. Okay, and a technique we used in the lightsaber animation that worked out really well was setting animation on everything and then just overriding specific things where needed. So duration is that. We don't need the ease there, and that should.
There we go. So I just did a slide up 1 second both, but of course we're going to choreograph that.
Yes. So move that down at the very bottom here.
Ah, okay.
And
let me get rid of my hover. You move the animation for the span, or? I'll move that down to the bottom. So I have a slide up animation. So go ahead and move that right there. And then we have the slide up animation where each of those slides up. And so this is very typical of Vox style animations, is to do that clipping animation. I think it looks really classy. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm working on so scale X in for all of the bars, including the timeline line. We'll do 2 origin 0, 0.
So why aren't the animations playing though?
Yeah, that's a good question. Scale X in duration.
Well, for any of them really.
Okay, so we need a default duration and delay. Duration 0.5 seconds, delay 0 seconds, and then that should do it.
Well, I mean for the spans and stuff.
Right. So let's see. Did you leave that up there? Nope. Oh, okay. You've got translate Y up there. That's part of the reason. Let's see. Did that do it? No, nothing is happening.
Oh boy. I mean, it's showing. That's something.
Yeah. So animation duration, bar duration, animation timing function, bar ease, animation delay.
All right, yeah, that works. There we go. That's fast.
Fill mode, both. Yeah, the default duration is very fast. So we'll have to do the coordination a little bit better. But what we can do for our descriptions is the same thing as usual. Style equals I0.
All right, so
I1.
How long is the timeline duration?
The variable timeline duration.
Okay. I'm going to move that just to the roots. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. It still exists.
Can we leave it down here at least, so it's just redefine it on root down here?
All right, fine. I'm going to move all the roots to, yeah, to down there, just so that we could, you know, we could have all the.
Well, so everything is available because it's under kind of the group here.
Well, then
so
in that case, I could just move this line duration right over here.
Well, line duration is a separate thing.
Well,
line duration was for the other animation.
So we have the timeline line duration. So each of the descriptions happens before that. I'm going to go ahead and add. Oh yeah, you're right. Add those CSS variables. Great.
Yep. So we've got timeline line. We'll move the actual animations down at the very bottom. Slide up here.
0 points
in, and then we'll do delay calc var I times
0.5 seconds. Weird. Right, so it works there. We have there I. Oh, are you is I actually no. So I is just a
I is available on that span. It's set on the
okay. Air duration. Cool. I'm not getting my my staggering.
So what you want to do, animation name, slide up, duration,
okay,
1 second, delay.
Cool, so we CSS variabled this entire thing.
Yeah.
Aha, wow.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so we want kind of the same thing here. Go.
That looks great. We could probably make the whole timeline line duration a little bit longer though.
Yeah.
Like 2 seconds. Okay, now we have the bars going pretty fast. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, well, there's a duration down here on those.
So the delay should actually be the same for both of these, should it?
Yeah, so it can be set up here.
Yeah. And then we could kill that.
And the duration can be the same as well.
Yes. Man, I love CSS variables.
Yeah.
Makes this kind of thing so easy.
The cascade, man.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
All right, so slavery, legal, continuing. Yeah. Cutting off a little bit on continuing discrimination.
Right,
and
that's
I think
what
that's
I was
because
talking about.
We have the overflow on the entire. You fixed it. Except you didn't, because now things are at the left. But I think we could fix that by
got it
centering somehow. Nice.
Yeah, you get some overlap on them, depending on your screen size there.
Cool. So now the next bit of the puzzle is
the dots.
showing the line graph or the dots.
Yeah. Okay. So the same kind of animation is happening with the text there. We need to stagger them, but we could use we can use that line, that slide up animation on those in the same way. So let's say data year up here, and then the before is the day, but we might actually need to split those out. So we'll do before animation name slide up, and
then they sort of go with a bit of a diagonal.
Yeah. Oh, because yeah, they're
right translated.
Right. So slide up. We'll say slide up year. And set that back here. And then we need to set the eyes on these. So we'll do the multi-cursor, style equals dash I. And then 3. Let's see. Oh boy. SD 0.
There we go.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, it's getting there. Let's see time. Let's see delay. Speed it up just a little bit. For
Yeah.
those.
Now those dots are probably going to get the same treatments too.
Yeah, so I'll move those variables up here, and then the after, we'll do animation scale in, because they just kind of pop up. Animation name scale in, and we'll do scale in as just from scale 0. Let's see, we'll do dot scale in because they need to still be x -50% scale 0. Do dot scale in. Let's see. Let's see.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's about at the stopping point here.
Yeah. That looks great.
Yeah. Got a little overlap on those labels. Let me just play with the size.
Yeah, we could either play with the size, or we could I don't know, make it wider.
Oh, that's way too small.
Wow.
Okay, we'll go with that for right now. All right. Okay, so we've got two really cool animations here. Let's talk for just a moment about what you'd like to cover here. So let's see, why are they overlapping?
Because I put the SVG in the. Is that what you're talking about? I put the SVG inside of the, well, what we call app, color picking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay, I think probably the best things to cover. So let's make some notes here at the top to kind of summarize a little bit. One is the line draw with path length, and then 2 is the staggering, and then 3 is the animation coordination technique. Just briefly cover each of those, and so
the clipped text.
I think we can leave that.
All right, no worries.
So if you're watching live, we're kind of about to do some overviews of the techniques, just kind of summarize them up real quick, and we're going to do it in a way that they'll be edited as individual things. So you might hear a little repetition here, but should be pretty fun. If you've been watching us so far, thanks so much for watching live. Be sure to subscribe and check out our other videos. Wow, hold on.
You all right?
Yeah, just stuck in my throat. There we go. So yeah, we've got plenty of links available below. My goodness, hold on.
Need a little bit of water.
A little bit of coffee, I guess. That'll do it. All right. So yeah, here we go. All right. Hola, Animigos. I'm Stephen Shaw.
And I'm your host, David Khourshid. Oh, what?
We'll just introduce ourselves real quick, and then we'll talk about one technique.
Okay.
All right.
I was reading verbatim.
No, improv, David.
Okay, improv.
Hola, Animigos. I'm Stephen Shaw.
And I am David Khourshid.
And we're going to cover a technique we used in this racial wealth gap data visualization animation. First thing we're covering here is the line draw with path length. So you can see this awesome chart down here. We built this just within SVG, coming out of a graphic design program. And then we used a cool technique that we've covered in some other episodes. I'm sure we'll include a link to it. If you look at the path that actually makes up the lines here, so here's the red line and then the white line, where we have this attribute called path length equals 1, and this just forces the browser to think of that path as the entire length of it as just 1, and that makes these kind of line drawing animations so much easier. So if we do stroke dash array 1, that basically tells the browser we want the line to have a dash, a filled in dash that's equal to the entire length of it, and then this property can be repeated like that, so that, but if you only use one value, it repeats that. So there'll be a filled in line of the full length and a gap line of one length. And then by using this draw animation, we're going from stroke dash offset 1, which shifts everything off so that you're only seeing the gap, and then it goes to stroke dash offset 0, which we don't even need that 2 because we're just going right into it. So yeah, that's what that line draw technique is. So check out the full video to see more of how we animated the text and the other elements in this animation, and be sure to subscribe at youtube.com/keyframers. All right, why don't you cover the next one here with the staggering. Yes.
Sure.
All right.
So yeah, for staggering, we're using CSS variables to help us. Now, if you're using something like React or Vue, you could automatically populate those CSS variables. But inside each of the elements, we are adding, for example, I, which stands for index, 0, 1, 2, 3. And this is going to help us with our calculations for the delays for each of these elements. That's where the staggering effect uses those CSS variables. Is, we take delay of, 0.1 second, and we multiply it by each of these variables. And so you could see here, if we go to data year over on line 192, that we're multiplying this var double dash I times, in this case, 0.4 seconds. And so for the first element, it's going to be 0. For the second one, it's going to be 0.4 seconds. For the third one, it's going to be 0.8 seconds. And so you could sort of just see how that staggering happens because of that var I. And so that's how you get a staggering effect.
Yes. We use this technique a lot, so be sure to check out the other videos on our channel, youtube.com/keyframers. And if you want to see the full process of creating this animation, we have that link available as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So animation coordination. This is a fun technique that we used in our lightsaber animation that I think you really helped kind of put this together, David, right?
Yeah. Again, we're using and abusing CSS variables for choreography.
Yeah. Well, it's a great way to just coordinate a bunch of animations by just overriding the little bits that you need. So you can see in our timeline here, we've got a few variables set up, duration, delay, and ease, and then we're setting those on everything that's inside of it directly. But since we're using those CSS variables, we can easily override those specific pieces. So for example, the timeline line, this big gray line here, we've given it the animation name of scale X in, and then we're overriding the duration with that timeline line duration. And then that same technique comes into play for these year. So we've got the dot and the text. The dot is the after here, and the text is the before. So the slide up year animation is just applied to it. And since we set these CSS variables right here in the data year, those cascade down to each of them. And we've got a little override here just to make it a little better on the dot. But yeah, the same thing is happening here for our bars.
Yep, each of the descriptions. We use the timeline line duration to offset each of those, and that's why you see both the year and the description happening. Actually, no, they happen at different times.
Yeah, slightly different, just based on our source animation.
Right.
Yeah. So. But we're setting the CSS variables here on the parent element, and then all we have to do is set the animation on the span and the before to get all the animation that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a super cool technique, and we've got way more information about how we built these animations in the full video, so be sure to check out the link to that and our other videos at youtube.com/keyframers. All right. Yep. I think that does it. Anything else?
Nothing else from me.
Awesome.
Yeah. Also, if you want to make a difference, you could support the Equal Justice Initiative or Black Girls Code, or there's a whole ton of charities that could really help.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes. So do your part, do what you can, and treat fellow humans nicely.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching. We've enjoyed having you. Until next time, adios, amigos.
Adios.